So with this criticism, uh, Kant is Hegel is proceeding to formulate the dialectics, and dialectics for Hegel comprises of two operative terms: contradiction and sublimation or sublation. The German term is Aufheben, something which has been put for future use, this kind of a thing. Contradiction, as I've already explained, is something which is everywhere. Every concept, every entity, every relationship has some kind of a contradiction or the other. And but contradictions can be resolved also, because contradictions are not so contradictory that they can be all the time excluded from one another. No, there are moments of participation also between the contradictions. Hegel has in fact taken up the example in the first volume of the Science of Logic, the questions of being and nothing. And in his attempt to define the being, what he is really doing, he is trying to define nothingness. But then he floats a new category that is known as becoming. So in the becoming, both being and nothing, they are sublimated, and it becomes something which is determinate being, in which there is a quantity, there is a quality, and then there is a transformation from quantity to quality and vice versa. So this is a new way of looking at the, you know, reality around us. The reality is dynamic. It is all the time coming to be and ceasing to be. And now our concepts have also to be the same way, dynamic, flexible, and you know, moving with those entities. We cannot have the fixed conceptions the way Kant had thought about it. For him, all the categories are fixed, but for Hegel, all the categories are dynamic, because there is a contradiction in the categories, and then contradictions have to be overcome. The overcoming aspect, in the process of overcoming, the lower stage is not annihilated, rather it is assimilated in the higher stage. This is how it is known as sublimation. In fact, in Hegel's own philosophy, Heraclitus is as true as Plato, though they are mutually contradictory, but still they are regarded by Hegel as equally true. Descartes is as true as Spinoza, though there are a lot of differences and disagreements, but it has been taken. For him, even the skeptics are as true as the anti skeptics like Immanuel Kant, because Kant and Hume and others, everybody in the past, almost all the contradictory phases of human thinking have found their places in Hegel's system. So it's a kind of grand design, which Hegel has given to us. Hegel has, in his Science of Logic, in all the three volumes, we find out that there are three principles of dialectics which are operating. The first one is that quantitative changes lead to qualitative changes and vice versa. This is a completely new way of looking at it, because nobody uh, before Hegel had thought about like this. The prevalent thought earlier was what Aristotle had given to us, the three laws of logic: law of identity, law of contradiction, and law of excluded middle. And from Aristotle to Immanuel Kant, people used to think only in terms of those three laws. Hegel is the first philosopher to have changed this intellectual exercise. For him, contradiction is there, and contradiction has to be there at the same time. Identity is there, differences are there, but for Hegel, identity is identical within differences. So this is a new way of looking at the reality, and in which he finds that quantitative changes lead to qualitative changes. And also there is unity and struggle of opposites. Two entities which are completely opposed, or two concepts which are mutually opposed, two classes which are mutually opposed, they are also complementing with each other at some point or the other. So this aspect has also evolved very substantially in Hegel. And the third principle is negation of negation. That means how to understand the development. So this development aspect has come out very substantially in Hegel's philosophy. And Hegel was termed as a totalitarian thinker because he was advocating something which could be regarded as the absolute absolute truth. In fact, in the phenomenology also he has said that, I quote, the true is the whole, but the whole is nothing other than the essence consummating itself through its development. Of the absolute, it must be said that it is essentially a result, that only in the end is it what it truly is, and that precisely in this consists its nature. This is from the Phenomenology of Spirit, page 11. So that means he was trying to take up all the concepts and create some kind of, totalitarian vision. And for that, he has taken up the role of the spirit, and which in fact takes up everything together. So in Hegel, spirit or the Geist is the relationship between thought and the objective reality. Thought is the ideas, the concepts, the which we have, and the reality is the social reality and the natural reality which we encounter. But spirit is some kind of a mediation between them, between thought and the reality. So the mediation or the middle point between idea, the categories, and the notion, uh, which is also called by Hegel as the truth, and also the reality, the objective reality, the nature, and which again Hegel says that the truth is about. So whatever the concepts as truth which we have, those concepts are the truths about nature, about society, etc. The term idea Hegel designates to the absolute truth. Nature is the term which Hegel gives to that truth which we find in the outward existence of the world. Spirit, however, is the mode of existence of the whole in which everything which is known is embodied in being. Idea and nature are dialectical opposites, but spirit is the unity between them. Hegel's contention is that there is something which is identical neither with the sphere of our thought nor with the objects of our thought, and that is the spirit. Spirit is the unifying agency. That's why Hegel becomes the absolute idealist. And spirit, while it was trying to unify, it touches every part of reality and brings it to a complete, what is called the whole of reality. Now, the kind of dialectics which has developed in German idealism from Immanuel Kant to G.W.F. Hegel, this became a kind of intellectual legacy for the further development in philosophy, whether it is Marxism or the critical theory or deconstruction, phenomenology, even in hermeneutics, everywhere we find that this model has been used very substantially. For now, I will take up the way it has been thought about by Marx. As we know that in Marxism, there are three basic components: the German ideology or German idealism from Kant to Hegel. This is very important component of the development of Marxist thinking. And the second is the French Revolution of 1789, and in which Marx himself, in fact, he lived during that period, and he went to France to see the revolution which had taken place, particularly the Paris Commune and etc. etc. And the third one is the British political economy. So uh, Marx's articulation